As you can see, we've got our front door and our windows. So I was considering to not film this. This is just as much a part of any construction project as anything else. Nailing, cutting, you name it. Logistics of materials, ordering, shipping, handling, all that stuff is just as important, if not, more important than some of the other things. And right now I have this stack of materials. That's like 120 something sheets of hardy, plus all the lumber, all this stuff on top, the metal pipe, right? There's a lot of weight here. And of course I don't want it stolen. So we're gonna move it into the building. And to do that, I'm actually going to cut out one of the windows. We've been leaving them alone for now because it's just a little more secure, not tempting for people to look in there and see all the tools we have. I don't want people to take stuff away. So I'm gonna cut that out now, make a hole so that I can pass the material through the building way faster than trying to haul it all the way around and in. This is an important piece of a construction project. You always need to think about how you're going to get your material where it needs to be. It would have been kind of ideal to have the siding already outside. I've already got it stacked right here. I don't have to move it again. But for the purposes of timing and ordering and paying for deliveries and all that stuff, we just chose to do it this way and stage it all inside where it's going to be out of the rain, accessible, ready for us. We're not waiting on anything to happen, not paying for multiple deliveries, stuff like that. So yes, it's going to be inside, sort of in the way. We aren't really working inside here until all this material is consumed anyway. It's just gonna sit in here and wait, and we're gonna pull it back out here to frame this up when we're ready and get all the sheet goods on, put all the siding on, all that stuff is going outside. One of them is 4 feet tall, one of them is 3 feet tall, so I'll just block in a little bit more because they were just easy windows to get, and that's why we decided to change the window size. So our whole city and the surrounding area is all down. No internet for one provider, for the main provider. And it kind of makes you think about what would you do if you went, well, let's say your whole lifetime, but like, let's say 3 days, no internet, zero zilch. That means no Instagram, no Facebook, no Google Maps, no way to like find your local businesses, check business hours, none of that. What would you do? How would you handle your time? How would that affect your life, right? And it happening here has made me think a little bit about the value in, worst case scenario, internet were to go down for a long period of time. How much value could you continue to produce for society without the internet? I like to draw plans, but I can only draw plans so much without some of my research tools. But I can also build things with my hands and the tools that I have in person. And not everybody has that, but everybody has some set of skills, some uses that are beneficial such that if they were to, have to go without the internet for some period of time, they could still be a useful person. All of a sudden, the world gets a whole lot smaller. The people you know directly around you matter a whole lot more. It just kind of puts things in perspective, So all these 2x6 studs that were bought are the cheaper Home Depot brand whitewood kind of stuff. And they were part of this order just because things were easy and fast, and they're a little bit cheaper. But you're generally just gonna get more boards that have kinks and knots and twists and funny stuff going on. The wood's just less stable, a little bit less strong. The rest of these walls were all done with Doug fir. And man, those boards are very consistent and just a nice board to work with. A little heavier, a little stronger. So there is a difference. It's not all the same, buy what you need for your case. But this was fine for what we're doing, so we'll just have to be more careful with how we pick out the studs and line things up so that we can cut the bad boards up into blocks. Just gotta be aware of what you're using. There is a difference. Now in general, you really do want to handle material as minimally as possible, especially hardy. These like to break and chip and you can knock things out and they're pretty floppy-loppy. But we're doing it this way because this is the way we're doing it. You know your lumber's straight when... Oh no, I've made a mistake. Ta-da! This is our starter strip for the lap siding. I used to use a rip of the lap siding that's this wide to start the angle on the lap siding. But when you shoot that with a nail, it just explodes into little bits. And that's a pain. This stuff is less likely to explode. What kind of neat tricks do we have in the box? Foam to seal up the windows. More caulk. Shims to install the front door. Bear skins. These are the flaps that are going to go in the joints in the lap siding. H-clips for the roof. The OSB sheathing is our roof sheathing, by the way. And then we got nail plates. Cover up our wires from getting shot. We got a big old box of siding nails because we're going to need a bunch of siding nails to shoot up this whole building. I'll be happy when I'm past all the pipes and I can dig. We found some big concrete chunks in here, so we decided to just go around it. But it runs up here. We have a bit line buried here, and we got the sewer buried here. Whoop! Sewer line's right here, so right in this spot, we're gonna cross underneath it. So we gotta go down like 4 feet to get far enough away from it that we're within code. So that's annoying, but that's the way it is. And then the other water line's right here. It runs to the front and we are parallel with it all the way out to the meter. So that's what we got.
Morning.
Even new ones. I didn't give you the old sweaty, crusty ones. It's all good. He's strong. That's much easier when there's less stuff in it. Whoa!
Wasn't me.
Another tile.
Yeah. The last place I went for. Yeah.
Oh shoot, I need to move the form another foot out. Hold on. All right, got the mud in there. We're gonna throw some anchor bolts in right now because it'd be a good time. But we'll come back intermittently here and smooth it out a little bit here and there, and that'll be that. And then we'll be framing next time. science lesson, kids. Here's a trick I learned recently. When you're using these, you would imagine you'd want to grab right here, right? Because that seems like the back of the handle. That's how the hand slides on. Do all that. But when you're using a bigger trowel, you're pushing more mud and it's more work. And you might benefit from flipping the handle around. So by changing your hand up and putting it back here, what you're doing is you're changing the moment. If you flip it around and you put that closer to the location of your wrist, now when something wants to turn this, it's less of a moment arm. It's your wrist is going to be doing less work. When you're pushing the mud with more force, you're going to be pushing more directly into your arm than you are pushing out here on your hand and having to use your wrist. So that's a little trick. Turn it around if you're pushing more mud, but you can flip it around if you want maybe more control or you want to like dig in and do some other stuff. This is not uncommon to have to deal with this when going up next to another edge, because when you screed it off, you're gonna be pulling to the elevation of the thing that you're at, and sometimes the concrete shrinks a little bit and settles, so you lose a little bit of elevation, but you could always push more mud down into it and bring it up. Trying to work extra hard to make sure that I'm even across here, right at the joint, because this is inside the room and the flooring is going to have to be right on top of this. I don't want a big old like lump in my floor. So I'm trying to like bring cream over to here, and what I'm doing is I'm dragging it across like this, and then when I get close to the crack, I push and roll over to the other side, and it like squeezes the mud over into the gap like that. That's how I'm moving the cream around close to the gaps. All right, calling that done. It's gonna be plenty smooth enough for what we're doing. That's all. I'll break up that junk and get it out of here. And then the next thing will be time to frame.